Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we're tackling a really common point of confusion, protein.
Yeah, it's everywhere, isn't it? Is meat better or vegan?
Exactly. And how much, are we getting way too much protein or, maybe not enough?
Right, the advice is all over the place. Some
Mhm.
people say meat causes inflammation. Others claim it's, well, superior.
You see warnings about like protein toxicity, but then also about deficiencies messing with energy, immune function.
It's definitely tricky to figure out what's what.
Absolutely. But as we were digging into this, something really interesting came up. Maybe the whole focus on protein itself is a bit off target.
hmm That's the key idea we found.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't fundamentally need protein in that, general sense.
It needs the parts of the protein.
Precisely. It needs the amino acids that make up the protein. They're the actual building blocks.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. To clarify this whole protein versus amino acid thing and get beyond just how many grams.
Exactly. Let's unpack what these amino acids actually do.
All right, let's get into it. If the body isn't primarily after the whole protein molecule, what are these amino acids doing once we digest them?
Oh, they're absolutely fundamental. I mean, proteins, or rather the amino acids they provide, they build almost everything.
Like muscles, obviously.
Muscles, yes, but also skin, the collagen in our bones, ligaments, tendons, the actual structure of us.
Wow, okay, so it's way more than just bulking up.
Way more. Think hormones, those crucial chemical messengers, amino acids, immune cells defending you, amino acids,
Huh. I didn't realize they were involved in so many different things.
and digestive enzymes, the things that break down your food so you can absorb nutrients, made from amino acids. Even neurotransmitters for your brain, nerve cells themselves.
So pretty much critical for everything functioning
I
correctly.
got it. And the enzymes that run, well, basically all the chemical reactions in your body, they're proteins too, built from amino acids.
Okay, so amino acids are the real MVPs here. You said proteins break down into them. How does that work?
Right. So imagine a protein molecule is like a long chain, maybe like beads on a string.
Okay.
Each bead is an amino acid. They're all linked together by chemical bonds.
Yeah.
When you eat protein,
Your stomach gets involved.
exactly, stomach acid starts the process, and then enzymes in your small intestine get to work breaking those bonds, basically snipping the string.
So you end up with individual beads, the amino acids.
Precisely. Individual amino acids floating free.
And then what happens to them? Where do they go?
Once they're free, they get absorbed through the wall of the small intestine right into your bloodstream.
Okay.
And the blood carry them all over the body, delivering them to different cells and tissues. Think of them like construction sites.
And the cells use these amino acids.
Yeah, they grab the amino acids they need from the bloodstream and use them to build new proteins, the specific kinds the human body needs for all those jobs we just talked about.
That makes sense. Now, you mentioned earlier that different proteins have different amino acid profiles. Why is that important?
Yeah, this is really key. Every living thing, an animal, a plant, has its own unique biological needs, right?
Yeah.
So the proteins inside that chicken or inside that lentil are built with amino acid ratios that are perfect for that organism's needs.
So chicken protein is structured for chickens, lentil protein for lentils,
You got it. The amino acid mix suits their specific biology.
which means it's not necessarily the perfect mix for us.
Exactly. That's the crucial point. Neither animal protein nor plant protein automatically has the exact combination, the exact ratio of amino acids that the human body requires.
Our needs are unique.
Very unique. We need certain amino acids called essential amino acids, essential because our bodies can't make them. We have to get them from food.
Okay, the essential ones.
And we need them in really specific proportions to each other. It's like a recipe. If you have too much flour and not enough eggs, the cake won't turn out right.
Right. So what happens if the recipe is off, if we get the wrong ratio of these essential amino acids?
Well, if your body gets, say, all the essential amino acids it needs, but maybe too much of one specific type compared to the others, or maybe a lot of non-essential ones it doesn't need right then. It can't actually use those extras efficiently to build human proteins. They just don't fit the immediate construction plans.
So those extra amino acids are just wasted. What happens to them?
They aren't directly used for building, no. Instead, the liver has to deal with them. It breaks them down.
Okay.
This breakdown releases nitrogen, which is basically waste. Your kidneys then have to work harder to filter that nitrogen out.
Ah, so it puts a strain on the kidneys.
It can, yeah.
Yeah.
And the rest of the molecule, the part that's left after the nitrogen is removed, That gets converted
Converted into what?
either into glucose, which is sugar,
Right.
or stored directly as body fat, or maybe just burned immediately for energy.
Whoa, okay. So that connects back to people sometimes gaining weight on really high protein diets
Exactly. It might not be the protein itself, but the excess amino acids that the body couldn't use for building.
because they got turned into sugar or fat instead.
Precisely. If the amino acid profile isn't quite right for what your body needs at that moment, those unused extras contribute calories and can lead to weight gain.
So just eating tons and tons of protein isn't necessarily the answer.
It seems not. It goes back to that initial confusion. Simply loading up might not be efficient and could have these other consequences, like the body storing the excess.
This really does shift the focus, doesn't it? Away from just grams of protein towards the actual quality and balance of the amino acids.
That seems to be the key takeaway. Focus less on protein as a lump sum and more on the specific essential amino acids in the right balance.
So if we want to optimize this, does that mean like carefully combining plant foods? Or is there another way?
Well, combining foods is one strategy people use, absolutely. And this thinking also leads to ideas mentioned in our source material, like specially formulated supplements. There was one called PerfectAmino.
PerfectAmino. Okay, what's the concept there?
Well, following this logic, if you know the exact ratio of essential amino acids the human body needs,
You could just provide that.
that's the idea behind it, according to the source. Perfect amino is described as being just the essential amino acids, supposedly in those precise, ideal human ratios.
So the claim is your body can use almost all of it.
That's the claim, that nearly 100% gets utilized for building and repair, meaning very little waste, very little needing to be converted by the liver.
And what are the supposed benefits of getting amino acids in this like pre-optimized form?
The source suggests quite a few potential advantages. Because it's supposedly almost fully utilized, there isn't really an excess to turn into sugar or fat.
So minimal caloric impact from the amino acids themselves.
That's the implication, yeah. Plus, the source mentions they're in free form, meaning they don't need much digestion.
So they get absorbed quickly.
Very quickly is the claim. Average absorption time mentioned is around 23 minutes, which is much faster than digesting whole proteins from food.
Okay, that sounds pretty efficient. What kind of results are linked to that quick, efficient delivery?
Well, the source connects it to potentially faster muscle building and repair, quicker recovery after you exercise, maybe better endurance too.
Makes sense if the building blocks get there faster.
Right. And beyond muscle, it's also claimed to support bones, tendons, ligaments better, plus things like immune cells, hormones, enzymes, neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
All those things we said rely on amino acids.
Because they're getting the exact supplies they need efficiently.
That's the argument presented. And again, without the caloric load from unused amino acids being converted.
So while we haven't fully compared, say, steak versus beans today,
Right, we haven't gone deep into that yet, though the source material suggests looking at that and the idea of too much protein later.
it sounds like the real difference might boil down to how closely their amino acid profiles match our specific human needs and how much gets wasted or converted.
That appears to be the core concept, yes. Providing the essential amino acids directly in the claimed perfect ratio aims to maximize the good stuff building and repair and minimize the burden of dealing with the excess.
This has definitely given me a new way to think about protein. So wrapping up, the big shift isn't just asking how much protein.
Right, it's shifting to which specific amino acids does my body need and, crucially, in what ratio.
It's about the building blocks themselves, not just the overall category.
Exactly. Focusing on those fundamental components that are so critical for, well, everything.
Which leaves a really interesting question for you listening. If our bodies prioritize these specific amino acid ratios, how might that change how you think about your food choices, beyond just glancing at the protein grams on the label?
Yeah, it definitely adds another layer to consider, doesn't it? Thinking about the actual profile of amino acids in what we eat.
Food for thought. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.